I'm super passionate about the topic of bootstrapping as a startup. My co-founder Nikki and I spent the first 2 years growing our business as full-time employees with absolutely no financial support. And by the time we started looking for funding, we already had a working product used by 100 customers and monthly recurring revenue of close to $6,000. I've always been a fan of the idea of making awesome things happen without having to dig deep in your pockets. And because this topic is vast, I split it into 2 parts video. Today I want to teach you how to kickstart your passion project on a tiny budget using free tools, free software, and startup programs. And in the second part, I'll tell you about hiring on a budget and building a product while working full-time. If you think the video is progressing slow at any point, feel free to increase the playback speed. This video also has chapters to skip between topics if that's your thing. All right, let's get into it. You're either working a 9-to-5 job or having funds aside to sustain yourself while building your business. Either way, the following applies to you when you're starting up. You should break down your financial milestones into 2 simple ones. 1, breaking even, and 2, quitting your job. By breaking even, I mean you're able to pay all of the operating costs from the revenue the business is generating, basically taking the weight off your shoulders so you don't have to keep the lights running with your own money. And depending on how significant your expenses are, it may take a while to reach this milestone. Hosting your website, paying developers, and operating software, the bills can add up. Many early startups shut down because their founders cannot sustain the costs after a while. And I'll talk about how to significantly cut some of this cost down early on. Still, once you manage to generate enough revenue to cover all this, I promise you'll feel proud and motivated to chase the next milestone. And speaking of, when do you actually get to quit your job? Well, I always advise you to cover the business expenses before you even consider paying yourself. Whether you're working full-time or using savings, you'd want to understand based on your growth when your business will sustain your lifestyle. And this is not rocket science. Figure out your monthly expenses, look at the current monthly revenue and the growth rate, and forecast when the D-Day is. If you're looking for a simple calculator to tell you when you're scheduled to break even, as well as quit your job, check out this free Maker's MRR calculator by GoSquare. You input your MRR, projected growth, operating and personal expenses, and it tells you roughly in how many months you're bound to hit the various milestones. Check it out, I'll link in the description, and while you're there, check out GoSquare. They offer a toolset for growing your SaaS business from day one. When you're getting started, the first intent is to try and handle everything on your own to save cost on people or tools. Now, yes, as a founder, early on, you need to wear all of the hats. Still, nowadays, there is software to help you with any activities and plenty of free plans or just entirely cost-free. And oh, what an exciting world we live in today when you, a small boutique startup, can match or even often surpass the big cats in work efficiency. There are tools to plan your work, handle your finances, design and build your product, and even web hosting it for free. I'm not exaggerating. You can run your business without paying a dime on tools when you're starting up. One powerful example is Profitwell, as they charge $0 for their main product. They have this brilliant attitude that a select few services do. You become well off first, and at a later stage, we can help you become even more successful. Their product enables you to track subscription revenue generated by your SaaS, and it's entirely free with no limitations. They offer additional paid tools to help you fix churn and improve conversion and retention. Another similar example that we used is Wave for accounting. Wave has beautifully crafted accounting software that is no strings attached free. They make a living through optional expert accounting advice, or if you decide to use their credit card processing service, which is optional. You can also find tools with freemium model where the free quota offered, for example, a limited amount of users free, should suffice for an early startup like yours. Take Jira for task management. You can use it entirely free for yourself and up to 9 of your teammates. Another company that does freemium very well is Freshworks, the makers of Freshdesk, Freshchat, and Freshservice, amongst others. Basically, you can run your entire customer engagement and comms completely free until you get big enough. When it comes to hosting your app or software, AWS and Google Cloud offer free tiers, so you can launch your product with no financial drawbacks. There are now programs to enroll that give you a wealth of benefits and free stuff. Take, for example, the Segment Startup program. When you sign up, you get $25,000 in credits for their tool to collect and analyze customer data. But that's just the tip of it. They partner up with an impressive list of other services to bring you over $1 million in free software for you to use. And you might think there's a catch or rigorous criteria to get in, and you'd be wrong. To qualify, you need to be a startup no older than 2 years and not have raised more than 5 million in funding. And there's no catch. Once you benefit from these perks, you're mostly free to choose if continue with the tools or not. But what tends to happen is you use the service for free for 1 year and then wind up keeping them once you're making good revenue. This specific program massively helped us early. For example, we could freely integrate Segment and Customer IO in our apps to track events and structure customer retention strategies that massively paid off in our revenue growth. 1 year later, when we started paying for the tools, we were already making comfortable money to happily pay for it. And there are plenty of other examples here, like playing with mixed tiles for some time to realize is not for us. If we would have had to pay for 3-4 months while we were experimenting, reaching the conclusion we did would have been painful. There are plenty of other services with similar benefits or perks. For example, WeWork. You get $5,000 in credits for AWS and plenty of discounts on other services. And speaking of AWS, they have their own program called AWS Activate. You get up to $100,000 in computing credits if you're funded by a VC firm or part of an accelerator that they support. That's enough credit to last you for a long time. Unless you're doing some machine learning processing. In that case, you're doomed. These are just some examples of how you can drastically cut costs and spare yourself the stress of sustaining operational expenses. In part 2, we'll look at hiring great people on a budget and discuss a primary differentiator in surviving building a business while working a 9-to-5 job. If you found any of the information helpful, please spread the word and share this video with others. Also, comment with any other resources that could help early founders. And if you haven't yet, do subscribe to get notified when part 2 is out. I'm Biro from Jigsaw, and I'll see you in the next one.